I want to say right now, like, look, Shy, my brother and I, we never hold nothing back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize this, and you could call me intelligent or call me, you know, basically, you know, trying to avoid a certain topic or acting dumb,
Mm-hmm.
but when working with Charlie on the podcast, it was like therapy.
Mm-hmm.
She suffered her own trauma. As a matter of fact, she just came out with her book. Man, if you guys could go check it out, I could, already imagine. I'm in the process of actually, waiting to receive it. So I'm looking forward to reading the book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she's very, educated on trauma, and we were working on the podcast. You know, she brought something to light. Besides the fact, that how we were raised, she actually, brought up the fact that, like we were abused, like mentally abused
Mm.
by, our father, being teaching us the drug trade at a young age.
Mm.
And the other observation she made was that my mother was 12 years old when my dad took her from the house.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna say my father will fall right in line with that.
Hmm.
You want to, it is what it is. It's like I'm not making excuses. I
Right. It's
mean,
probably
I,
safe to
I have
assume.
respect for my father. You could call it the culture. You could call it whatever you want. You call him, that name of,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what he falls in. That's what he falls in. And and
And it's probably safe to assume that his other families were designed probably near the same way.
you know what? And I'm gonna tell you, I remember being 15 years old, and Mexico always had like a special place to me. It was like my second home. I loved going, you know, there often, and I had friends and I had girlfriends, and um, I remember me having a girlfriend, and my father's baby's mom was in the same grade with her.
Holy shit.
Do you understand that? Like,
You had a girlfriend in school and
hmm
your
I
father's
mean, she
baby
could have
mama,
been she could have been a year older than me. So just say if I was
whatever.
15. Yeah.
But your father's BM was in the same class as her.
Yes.
Crazy. And the fact that y'all knew who she was at that age. So y'all were always privy to knowing that he had other families and shit like that? Was it like
Did
common
I
knowledge?
say it again? I apologize, bro.
So you saying that as a child you had a girlfriend that was in a class with your father's baby mama, same class, but so that tells me that you guys knew young that he was a man of more than one woman. You guys knew young that he was a man of more than one family.
Oh, absolutely,
Mm.
man. And let me tell you something. I all the time. There's a couple things, there's in life. I feel like there's a lot of things that I appreciate that my father taught my brother and I.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly was, the centers of respect, the principles, right? Or morals, respect, uh, and we picked up a lot of that good, but we also left a lot of that bad behind.
Mm.
My father used to say, you know what, you should be able to have as many wives as you could afford.
Right.
I remember, my wife used to be like, what?
He's wild.
Right? I don't know, Dad. That's a lot of wives. Like, what would I do? As a joke, but you know, I remember Val used to snap, like, what? You know, that was his mentality.
Right.
And I seen what he put my mom through. So there's a lot of who he was that I believe that me, my brother Peter, and my older brother Mando did not want to be like.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all very different. And he didn't like that. He thought we were like, mandilones, right? Like he disliked that about us.
That you didn't want to follow in the smut.
That why didn't we have a bunch of women? He
Right. Where's
didn't
all
like
your
that we
bitches
liked
at?
older women. one of the things he despised was that and I'm just being honest, is that he knew Val, and he knew that Val was married to Kay, and he didn't like that.
Mm.
You know, he didn't like the fact that you could be with someone that was married to someone else. Period. And in his eyes, like, why can't you go with a young girl that
Right. You could have gone and knocked on any door in your village in Mexico and picked of your choosing out of a fucking
Yeah.
Sears catalog.
So yeah. So look, just to make it clear, like us, pointing this out, that little girl that you see in the video that you played, like that's part of the culture. That's probably what her friends probably were raised as, because they glamorize these narcos. Okay. Um, it's different from, it could be different from the US, because I get it. If there's young girls out there that might like a thug, but they're not liking old thugs. There's it's not. I just don't see it happening in Little Village. I don't see, you know,
Mm-mm.
a Lion King being, like being able to be with a, 15-year-old girl, and he's 18, 19 years old, and everyone being cool. I just don't see it. The culture could have changed, and maybe I'm giving too much of a compliment there,
Well, I
but
mean, coming up, you always had the older dudes that was picking up the younger girls from school. You look back at it now, you say, damn, them girls was 15 years old. These dudes was 20, 21, 22 years old, you know?
you're right. You're right. Now looking at it back, it's like, hold on. But look, even with the whole R. Kelly stuff, I was around R. Kelly. I seen him do, like stuff that wasn't to, me as a man.
Mm-hmm.
I lost that respect from him a long time ago. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
But also, just because I'm not saying I seen him with a young girl, because I had my instances where he actually told me, like, man, do me a favor. Anybody's gonna be around, I need you, just check your IDs to your people. He wanted people to check the IDs.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk. I'm not making excuses for him.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he treated women,
Mm-hmm.
forget about it.
Right.
You know, it was insane. And like, once something like that happens, you stop. I stopped respecting that. A long time
Absolutely.
ago. So it's just it's just one of those instances where I think that you're highlighting something that people don't like to hear. I see in the comments where you're like, you know, your idols this, and they're like, oh, those guys are rats. I'm like,
like
absolutely.
that's all you got though. But see, that's where we're at in the as far as conversation on the internet. And here's what the funny thing is: the newest thing that everybody does, and we saw it happen to me in one of my early live streams. The first thing they do when they can't fight with you verbally, the first thing they do is they call you a PDF file, right? You know what I'm saying? And those people are disingenuous because once you're throwing around that word, like the homie Zaya would say, once you're throwing around that word all over the place like that, you taking the power away from that word. You know what I'm saying? And if you screaming that somebody's a PDF file, that would mean that you care about kids. No, you don't. You just care about throwing that word around. You don't give a shit about these kids, and you're probably one yourself. So that's where the mentality of people has gotten. To this point. You know what I'm saying? And these other guys, you get into an argument with them about anything, or they'll be like, the first thing they say, they're rats. Okay, cool. What about this pedophile part? No, but them niggas rats though. Yeah, but what about this?
And I do believe that you're going towards like a road that hasn't been actually like taken
Mm-hmm.
by highlighting those points,
Mm-hmm.
because that's great. Like I'm sure you never thought about this, but I'm like, wow. Hopefully, someone young out there could actually look at these videos, see what you're talking about. I don't see you any picking sides. I look at it like the reason why we actually started like having this relationship is because me, my wife, my brother respect that you're gonna have your opinion, and that's it. It is what it is. Um, and hopefully people can understand that that when we're actually speaking about something, we're just highlighting certain things. So if I tell you, you know if I say, oh my God, I love my wife, Val's been everything to me, and she's a G, they'll be like, oh, but she was Kato's wife.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
like, bro,
No,
it's like,
and
all
that's all
right.
it is. Those are just they got 3 bullets in their gun.
Yeah,
These
or
are
yo,
not people
no,
that can have nuanced conversation. These are not people
yeah.
that can have nuanced conversation or have an ongoing conversation or be provided new information and change their mind. None of that shit. So those people, to me, I don't like wasting my time. I insult those people. They don't like it. Fuck off. Like, you can't have this conversation. There's levels to a conversation and you don't want to have it.